Need a minute?
By 60 seconds to reopen my programs, and I'm good.
Sure, sure. In the meantime, I was saying to our attendees that we have been working at Douglas High School in Atlanta. It's a school in Atlanta Public Schools in the southern part of Atlanta. And Mr. Fluellen actually has an amazing story. Not just as a teacher, but as a former student in the school that he is teaching at now. He makes personal connections with his students. He truly cares about the students and the community. And so, as you will see quickly, as you get to know Mr. Fluellen, he is all heart as a teacher and as a human being. So I'm so happy that we're up and running, Mr. Fluellen.
Yeah, me too. I thought I was going to have an issue there for a minute. All right. So,
Okay.
I will
So,
go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say, you let me know when you're ready to get started. I just wanted to do a, quick introduction, and then I'm going to let you take it away.
One question. How do I share my screen?
Okay. At the bottom of the hop-in screen, you should see an icon with a red slash. Yeah, if you click on it, it'll give you the option to share your full screen or an application or a tab. And as you're doing that, I want you to know that there are plenty of attendees that are very familiar with instruments. They have either played or are big fans of music.
Okay. Cool. Well,
oh, I see your screen now.
Yeah. I hope it's up. All right. Let me see if I can blow this up or at least make it a little larger. All right. So, I'll go ahead and get started here.
Okay. Let me do this introduction because it is noteworthy, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being so patient because you do not want to miss this session with Mr. Marekus Fluellen. He sent in a bio that I'm going to read word for word because again, like I said, I think it's noteworthy. His occupation is an educator. He is an audio engineer, a hobbyist, a husband, and a dad. His education is in mathematics education specialist, and he has been teaching for 8 years. His favorite quotes are, "Everything is relative for those seeking the connections." And two birds can be hit with one stone if you throw a big enough rock. And also, students' interests should drive the lesson. Connect the content to their interests and watch their world expand. He is currently a music technology teacher, a computer science teacher, and a mathematics teacher. His goals are to teach college one day. He wants to pay off all his debt by 2022. That's a good goal. Engineer something weekly, move consciousness with his music. And he wants to retire by age 45. Mr. Fluellen, you don't look a day over 21. So you have a long ways to go, Mr. Fluellen.
Yeah, so I got about 7 years to figure this thing out. And, progress being made with my bachelor's and associates paid off, but master's and specialist, okay. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, I want you to know I'm going to be in the background. I am going to help monitor the chat as well. If you need me, I'm here. I'm not leaving the session. I'm just going to be in the background. And with that, Mr. Fluellen, I'm going to let you take it away, okay?
All right. So good morning, everyone. So excited to see you all here. What I am going to share with you, and hopefully I can make up some time here, try not to go over and bleed into your lunch, I'm going to share a happenstance, a happy mistake, as you call it. So I am a music lover. While I was in school and college, I hung out with all the music kids while I was in the band. Um, it was just something that stuck, But I stumbled across digital music making or using digital devices, analog devices, so on and so forth. And I played around with it in college, and it just kind of disappeared. Okay. So fast forward to I guess about 2010, and I was at a STEM conference. And while I was at this STEM conference, I got wind of someone creating a basically programming way to create music. Now that it was just an idea then. So jump again to 2017, I believe, and somebody showed up with a program that was based in computer science. It was Java or Python, but it did the same thing as other digital audio workstations. And the whole time the person was talking computer science, which was foreign to me still, to some degree, but I still was able to follow because of how it was laid out and how familiar it was to music and certain music technology pieces. So, what I wanted to do real quick, if you pay attention to the software program live to try and maximize it so that it takes over the whole screen. I'm gonna take about 4 minutes of your time. And what I want you to do is I want you to look for as many programming and computer science ideas, concepts, similarities as you can find. Okay. Hopefully the sound comes through. I think it will. But I'm going to create something. And then at the end, we'll talk about what those connections are and how that actually interacts with what you can do with the program. Okay. So give me about 4 minutes. Let me blow this up real quick. Um, Application window. Okay. Actually, let me do that one more time. Screen. I want the entire screen. Yep, that too. All right, here we go. so let's back out of that. All right, so hopefully you could hear some of that. I know that potentially it was uh, kind of low volume. I wasn't able to really figure that out. But let me see, plug this. All right. So some of the things that were just done there is called looped bass uh, creating as far as music, loop based or sample based, and I added one little sound myself. All right, so this began when I was talking to my computer science students this past year. And, they said, well, Mr. Fluellen, this is nice and all, but, what am I going to do with this? What skill can I walk away with? My music tech kids at the same time were like, Mr. Fluellen, we're making music, but you keep talking about the technical aspect. What's the technical aspect? So I put these children in the same room after school one day and let them kind of hash out on ear sketch. And they realized very quickly, like, oh, well, that's just like, that's very similar to. And so it just became this thing where it's like, I have to have this in my classroom. And I wanted to go through really quickly what ear sketch is and how you can use this to capture your students. So the first thing that I want to look at as I um, wait on my program to load here is who is this for? So when you talk about EarSketch, this program is essentially a digital workstation, and the kids can create, express themselves. They can create music, but the impact is for every type of student. So as mentioned before, I work at Douglas High School, and I have every type of learner imaginable. And I say that with the biggest smile that I can put on my face. I literally have every type of learner. I have the good guy, the strange guy, the I know everything guy, the why am I here person. And with this program, I was able to reach all of the students one way or another through one of their interests. Either they wanted to make music, or they like listening to music, or they wanted to program, or they needed a class where they could express themselves artistically, or whatever the case may be. So it's wide open. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start this slide real quick. Nope, I don't need to do that. Okay. You're recording. Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to do. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna introduce some things. I'm gonna tell you what EarSketch is. I'm gonna tell you how you can make some connections, how you can do stuff on day one. We can go to the program. We'll talk about how deep you can go into the stuff, and then we'll expand from there. Now, remember, showing you that other program at the beginning, I want you to make some of those same connections as we go through the program here. All right. So I called it Sounds of Java because we use Java in our programming class, and I'm opening to Python hopefully soon. So, it might be Sounds of Python next time, we'll see. All right. So EarSketch is basically a learning environment. It's for introduction to computer science, but it could be used as an additional resource for your class. And the focus is in something very familiar and very attached to student interest, which would be music composition. So every kid wants to either make it or listen to it. It's just phenomenal how engaged they can be. Um, the learning curriculum is pretty straightforward, which I'll show you shortly. Everything is done through code, and it's free. Like, I love free. That program that I showed you before cost me $700, along with all of the equipment and tools and everything else that I have come up with. And so free would have been nice to know. Even though programming is not my strong suit just yet, which I have done by the end of the year, but that's another story. Um, it is useful. It's very useful. And we'll get into that too. So you have Python or JavaScript as options. There are 4,000 loops and sounds, which is way more than you can get in any sample pack. And the kids actually get the opportunity to use a lot of these elements that you see in the picture. They're just going to use them, excuse me, digitally. All right, so the curriculum is aligned with the AP CS Principles class, but I use it in my AP CSA class as a treat per se on Fridays. This is what they did. Hey, do something, make something creative. And, they really realized, like, hey, all that stuff we were doing in Code.hs or Code.org actually translates over to what we're doing in here. So it's not so foreign. Okay. Um, the biggest impact for me right now is the kids attached to it and they can use it. So they're understanding that the icons and symbols and sounds and programs inside of the actual workstation have to be programmed. The instruments, the digital instruments or analog instruments that have some type of computer program, it has to have somebody to build that. And so they were able to see themselves as being a part of a community, not just as an artist, not just as a producer, but as a contributor to a overall career field. And they realized, like, hey, these people make just as much money as some of the other folks. So, Ear Sketch is a little bit of everything. And what I want to do at this point is actually the go to the program. So what I would like everyone to do, if you have time, you can click on open a new tab, and you can just type in earsketch.georgiatech.edu, or you can Google Earsketch and it should come up as the first option. And when you log into the program, let me open this in a new tab, new window. There we go, so I can see both. All right. So when you log into, or when you open the tab, all you have to do is click on Get Started. And when you click on Get Started, and it's a little slow. Let me take that back. It's a little slower than what I'm used to as far as programs. And I've asked them about that, and they're working on it. So they do give great feedback very quickly. So while we wait on that, let me check here. All right. Can everybody still hear me clearly? I know I'm just kind of like talking, but I wanted to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, thank you. All right, come on, ear sketch. Don't take all day. Yay, okay, it came up. All right, so once you click on get started, you can create a username. And this is how you will save your work. One of the things that happens when you first open any type of digital audio workstation, or DAW as it's commonly called, is it's overwhelming. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on and you're like, okay, what do I click on? Why do I click on it? Where is what I'm looking for? Like, it's just it's overwhelming. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. All right, so let's go through this real quick, and then we'll start working on the code, and then we can go from there. All right, so on the left hand side, the first folder, you have your sounds, and it was just like that folder that I went into on my screen over here on the left, where you have a group of sounds. Okay. The second folder is your script. If you click on your script, these are things that you would have made, or if you want to open someone else's script, and that's basically just your saved code where you worked on something. Okay. All right. The next folder is share. So they have competitions for coding. They have projects that they put in here periodically. And so you would just use your share version, share folder, to send stuff to people. It's as simple as point, click, share. All right. The fourth folder is where you find um, all of your functions. So this is your API list, and everything in here completely explains what it is and what it does. And then it allows you to click on the little copy paste button to put it directly into a field. So what we're going to focus on today is going to be just three of these. Three simple, very quick. Kids can create beats on the first day. They'll be so excited because they can share and say that they made something. And so I'm hoping that as I go through that, you guys will do the same. All right. In the middle, again, is where your script goes. We'll talk about what to do with that in 1 second. I'm going to blow that up. On the right-hand side is where your curriculum is. And if you open each one of the tabs, you can see that it gets very detailed into some of the same principle-based items and what that entails, and what you need to know about that particular thing. So you get like a little synopsis, you get a little quick video, and if you open a teacher account, which all you have to do is click on teacher account, it will allow you to download materials for testing, quizzes, and things like that. So just go to teacher community, and then you can click here to get all of the teacher information. Okay. You can join the community and share. And when I say I learned some things that I didn't know, like, this has really been my personal help aid to keep up with some of the computer science elements. All right. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to click create a new script, and you will select whether you want JavaScript or Python. We're going to select JavaScript, and let's give it a name. That's what we're going to call it. And then you hit create. All right. So what you're looking at is very similar to what you would see in most of the coding function programs, CodeHS and code.org and all of those things. And you don't really have to have a lot of music background, or any really, to get started in this. Once you figure out um, what the functions do, then you can get started. Okay. So the first one that we're going to start with is going to be one called Fit Media. All right. So if I go over here and I click on Fit Media, I click on the little, um, I guess that's an eye. Click on an eye. It tells you exactly what it does. All right. So this adds a audio file. It allows you to determine what track you want it on, and then where you want it to start and where you want it to end. Okay. So this is that thing that captures the entire room because they are programming, they are coding, but they get to make something right away. And I guarantee you every child will smile. Okay. So let's go and look at our sounds. First thing I'm going to do is type in, I want to click in there. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Fit media. All right. So I type in fit media, open my parentheses, and then I am going to go to sounds. All right. In my sounds, I have different artists. I have different genres. Um, Come on, slow computer. All right, let me close this. No, that might help. All right, so you can go by different artists, people who have added sounds, and there's some famous people in here, I suppose, but you know. All right, okay. Clear. Come on. All right. Trying to get the things to close here so I can see. All right. So this first sound is called Common Love Drum Beat. Now, nobody wants to type all of that. So like I said, all you have to do is click inside and then use the copy paste button. All right. So according to our function, you get the sound first, comma, and then I want it to be on track 1, comma, and then I want it to start at measure 1, so I put a 1, and then I want it to stop at measure 9. Right. And then, don't forget your semicolon. I'm good at that. All right, so once you type something in there, all you have to do is press run. And so what it translates to is exactly what you would do in your digital audio workstation. And so pressing play, all right, so I just created something. Yay, I have just done something awesome. All right, so what you would do from here, music-wise, you got a nice little beat, you want to add a melody. What I like about this thing is you can search for things. So if I type in melody and I hit enter, let me clear, try that again. Do, 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 do. All right. Okay, so let's click a pop melody. And I want to put it in here, but I need to do the same thing over again. So I need to type in fit media, open my brackets, drop in a sound as such, but I don't want this to be on track 1. I want this to be on track 2. And then I want the drums to start by themselves for the first 4 measures. So I don't want this to start at 1. I want this to start at 5. And then I want it to end at 9. All right. Semicolon in, click run. Uh-oh, I did something wrong. What did it do? Oh, yeah, that might work. So we get into some debugging. Yay, okay, it worked. All right, so start again. Start from the beginning. All right, so what happens here is your children, especially if they don't have their headphones in, will get up and start dancing in your classroom. It is perfectly okay. Do not be alarmed. It is at least something positive. And the bug was I typed in a capital E next to media, and it should have been a lowercase e. All right. Now, if you are not the typing person, you don't necessarily care to keep throwing things in there, letter by letter, number by number, character by character, you can click on settings and click to toggle blocks mode. And then everything becomes blocked. They load your basic functions over here, and you can drop things in as needed. When you drop something in as needed, say for example, I drop this in, it gives you a drop down menu where you can click certain element based on what you want to do. So for example, this is called set effect, and effect is all of those things that you would add onto a sound. Make it louder, make it delayed, add an echo, add a chorus, filters, etc., etc. So let's say that I added a filter, and then I wanted to use a low gain EQ. And of course, you can familiarize yourself with what these terms are prior to, or you can just let the kids experiment and ask them, hey, what did that sound do? Okay. And then you can use the values. So inside of the material, inside the curriculum, it explains a lot of what these values are, what their ranges actually are, and what they do. So you don't have to be, in the dark about them. For example, this one says that something is wrong with my code here, and most likely it's going to be the value. And I can't see what it says down there. Providing argument values for a function does not exist on line 15. So 10 is either somewhere out of range, it's probably too small. So then you can go back and start making edits. Okay, I think my screen froze again. Okay. All right, so then that's too high, which means, and it could be negative numbers too. It just depends. Like I don't know the right set of numbers, and it might not be. So I'm not gonna worry about that at the moment. All right, let me switch back here. All right, I prefer this method myself. All right. Okay. So we've created, a beat. All right. But then this would be tiresome if you were trying to create an entire song. Okay. So what you would want to do is you would want to create a custom function. All right. And when you start creating custom functions, and I'm not going to go into tremendous detail, but I am going to show you what it looks like. You create a custom function. You can lay this entire beat out in a kind of ABA format. All right. And what I wanted to show you real quick was what that looks like. Do, 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 do. All right. So if you're looking at this particular slide, you'll see that there's something going on between sections 1 and 5, or measure 1 and 5. And then from 5 to 9, there's something different going on. And then from section 9 to 13, or measure 9 to 13, it goes back to what we saw at the beginning. All right. Now, if we were trying to code all of that, we would get 100 different lines. But what you can do is create a custom function for section A, and then write out those few little items that you want for that section. And then you create something for section B and write out those few little elements that you want. And then you go back and you call section A, and you want section A to play from measure 1 to 5. Call section B, you want it to play from 5 to 9. Call section A, and you'll run it from 9 to 13. All right. Now, it's the easiest little simple thing. And there's so much attached to what the student can actually do, or what the student can actually come up with. And it's an awesome opportunity for them, like I said, to create. I don't want to go over your time, but I do want to show you an example. Let's see if I can pull this back up. Okay, I am being summoned. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to script. No. Okay. All right, let me go scripts. Where I use, here we go. All right, so let's hit run. And this was something that I did in one of the classes, just to kind of go through what was capable here. So I have part A, I have part B, I have part C. And the sequence that is going to play is part A, part B, part A, part C, part A, part B, part A, part C. So it just goes back and forth. And it was very simple. But when the kids looked at it, it was like, oh, that looks just like what I do in. It's like, yeah, that's exactly the way that that's supposed to work. Okay. So if I hit play, okay, let me turn that down because that's a little bassy there. All right, so that was not the greatest thing in the world. I am, however, proud of it because it allowed me to demonstrate to the students that you can create, and you can create with code, and you can make connections outside of line by line, whatever the structures are. It doesn't have to be limited to writing building a website, or it doesn't have to be limited to something inside of a program. It has 1,000 different applications. So, it works out and I enjoy it. And even if the kids are tired of hearing my strange and different music, um, they they tune in and they work. So, like I said, it's something that you can expand upon. You can go into details beyond, what I've showed you today. All you have to do is click on the curriculum and, you know, open up, talk about data structures and give them the opportunity to show you what they can do. It doesn't feel like learning for them because their goal is to create something and they get that instant gratification of I did something today, and it's not just a bunch of code in a computer, or it's not a dog doing black flips. It's something that I can take. Um, and then finally, about 4 minutes over here, you can take what you create after you save it and you can download it. It is yours. They've already cleared all of the paperwork and all of the, copyrights and things like that. As long as someone's name is not attached to it. So like Sierra pops up and Common pops up. Those you have to get approval first to use it. But if you just want to download it and, make it a ringtone, which was one of the projects that we did, or, rap over it and put it on Instagram, that's fine as long as you follow the protocols. But for any other sounds that they have that don't have names attached to it, it's downloadable, and it's very, very exciting to use. All right, so I think I've said enough for now. If you have any questions, please let me know. I am free to answer.
Hi, Mr. Fluellen. I'm back to help you with questions that are coming in. If you have questions, you can.
So,
Can you hear me, Mr. Fluellen?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So there are some questions that are on the chat, and I'll get to those. I'm scrolling to see some of the latest questions, Mr. Fluellen. One is there an easy way to share ear sketch creations and projects?
Yes. So when you click the share button inside of the program, you can send it by email, but it also depends on the size and the particular email that you use. The download feature, of course, would allow you to download it to your computer where you can, you can compress the file. You can compress the file to send it quicker or smaller. And it also imports into your workstation. So like on mine, I don't know, I think you can still see my screen. I keep all of my folders here, but if I wanted to go to a specific folder where I've downloaded that particular file, I can just go and open it. So it could come from EarSketch, and then I can use it in my regular workstation as well. And that works for all of the workstations, as long as you use a WAV file or a MP3 file.
Okay, great. Okay, Mr. Guy asked if the ear sketch was useful for the create task.
I'm not sure. And the reason I say that is because with a little more knowledge, probably at the level that you are at, because you're awesome, you probably could make it more useful for create tasks than I would have. My goal for bringing the program to the students was to marry two classes. You know, my music tech class, they understand the physical side of things, but not the computer science side of things. And then my computer science students understand or tried to understand the computer science things, but didn't understand the application piece. So when I put them together, this program helped bring in a plethora of students' interests who otherwise would be lost in one class or the other.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and just scrolling down through these questions here. When you do this with your students, Mr. Fluellen, do you recommend that everyone wear earphones or earbuds?
I would recommend that everyone wears headphones. You can order a bunch of very cheap phones. All they really need to do is hear it. As they get into more complex code and start using some of the other functions, you might allow maybe one or two of them, your people who are really working with it, to get slightly better phones so that they can work with the effects, because some of them don't show up in the cheaper headphones. Or from a laptop computer speaker. But regular headphones are just just fine. Now you can do where say the kid works on it at home or something like that. You can always have them create and then share it on a set of studio monitors, or something, have one station where everything is clear and crisp and in quality, and then just let them create on their laptops.
Yeah. All right. There are a couple of more questions, but I also think, I have a request as well too.
Okay.
Before we end your session, I was hoping that maybe if you were up to it, you could play us some of your own composed music, maybe just a small short segment of it before we end today.
Sure.
There are a couple of other questions though, but I think it would be a great treat if you didn't mind playing some of your originals for us. That would be great.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
So the first thing that I'm going to do, and I'm gonna put it in the chat. Um, I do have a website. It's in the process of updating, so I'm not going to send you there until next weekend when it's done. But you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and it's Fluellen Media LLC, and it has all of my strange creations. So in case you want to see my creative process, even on YouTube. So my style of playing is very much like how I approach coding, and it's called just play. So what I do is I sit down and I just play, like forget all of the structures, and I'm learning as I go through the process. Like, oh, okay, so this is fit media. This is what this does. I would do 100 fit medias, and then it's like, oh, wait, I can use this function and I can divide that in half. So now I'm using 50, and I'm just kind of going through the process. So when I create my music, I do the same thing. I put something in there. As long as it's in key, I work with it. It may work, it may not work. By the time I finish the song, I've worked out all the kinks. But when I just play, I just play. So I'll let you hear and see some of my recent things. And then you can check out all of the other projects on one of the social media places or something like that. My albums are in stores, digital stores. If you want to download anything, that would be appreciated. But if you just listen, that would also be appreciated too. And you can just look up my name anywhere, all my stuff will show up. And finally, before I play, I use 90% of the money that I make from this to reinvest back into teaching students. So I buy equipment, I do training courses. I've done a few small, tiny scholarships for students who pursue it collegiately. So, it's something just to consider. So let me open up something here. Let's see, what was I? Mm, dun, 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 dun. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Nope. 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 Okay, let me hit open. All right.
In the meantime, Ms. Fluellen, I'm asking attendees to send any outstanding questions that we may not have addressed, to send them either to me or to you directly via this chat.
Yep, and I'll answer as many as I can. I'm all for it. Let me see where. There we go. Okay. Doom, 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 doom. All right. So I'm gonna open this one, and this is just some music. All right, here we go. Should be loaded by now. No, still waiting. Okay. And my computer's just running a tad slow today because everybody in the house is on Wi-Fi, is on their computers, something like 20 devices. So we're trying to work that out, or upgrade or something.
Yeah,
All right,
no
so
worries.
it's loading. Yeah, I just got a question. Am I on the Wi-Fi? Yes, I am on the Wi-Fi. Okay. I'll give it a few seconds. Okay. So while that loads, I'm not sure what's taking so long here. I use analog, digital, software synthesis to create my stuff. So if you're asking or thinking when you hear this, like, where did that sound come from? I probably wrote a formula for it and use a sinusoidal function to create something. So if it's weird, it's weird. All right. So here's something. Let me know if it's clear. All right. See, I'll give you one more. And that was essentially created as a kind of blend. Synthesis is still a world concept. It used to be really big here in America, and then somehow we let that leave, and the rest of the world picked it up, and so it's starting to make a make a comeback, especially with genres like dubstep and things like that. So, let me see. Do. All right, let's try another one real quick. While we wait, if we got any questions, I can.
There's one that just came in about can EarSketch interact with MIDI device mixers like Ableton?
Yes and no. So you're not going to plug a MIDI device up to Ableton, but you can create one shots or loops and then import those one shots and loops into Ableton or FL or Reason, and then use your MIDI device to control it from there. You can also go the other direction. So let's say that you create a sound in your personal workstation. You can upload that to EarSketch and then use it in EarSketch as a loop. If I'm going to create something custom, even say for a competition, I would probably go that route because you can put it in key. So if I need everything to be in F sharp major, I can create everything F sharp major, upload it to EarSketch, and then put my coding to it. But it'll at least be all in key. Sometimes it's kind of hard with the loops and samples in EarSketch to figure out what key is in unless you have something that'll tell you what the key is. All right, let me share another one here with you.
Okay, and I know that we are a few minutes over time, but we really appreciate you staying on with us for this one last treat by Mr. Fluellen. Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, that was a piece called Feelings, and it's from my restoration project, which was the last album, which was, trying to, I guess, share the idea that, people have to return your mind and your body and your spirit and your faith, to those things that are true, are solid, bankable. Especially now with the stuff that we're facing and everything being in chaos. It's like, no, 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 back up. Get your mind right. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna keep working, you're gonna keep striving, so on and so forth. So but what I wanted to point out before we get off, if you look at the bottom of the screen, these are called effect chains, and these effect chains, you know, basically determine how your sound comes out of a particular channel, which is just like the set effect on ear sketch. So this particular set of um parameters or effects are going to be attached to um, channel 5. So if I was writing that out, that would be set effect, channel 5, and then my next two numbers would be, nope, it starts the whole time. So it would be from measure 1 all the way to measure 57. Yeah. So if you're just wondering like how that stuff connects, that's exactly how it connects.
Thank you, Mr. Fluellen. Thank you
No
for
problem.
showing us how you use ear sketch to make music, but also to connect with your students and to integrate music to lift our soul too. So thank you for that.
All right. No problem. Anytime.
We still have, there's like 25 people in this session. I just want you to know that we'll be back on stage in about 5 minutes, but thank you all for staying on this long.
Okay. And if you have questions, I'll stay till it's time to go back. I'm here.
Okay. I think I'll have to head over to the stage. I apologize, okay, Mr. Fluellen, but please,
no problem,
stay on. And again, if there are any questions that we missed or didn't get to, you can send them to me, or Mr. Fluellen will be able to stay on for a few more minutes to address those questions. Really appreciate it, Mr. Fluellen. We'll be in touch very soon, okay?
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Cheers.
So yeah, somebody asked, do I use Ableton in my classes? I use Ableton in my classes because it is capable of everything. So I don't ever want to put a child into a small box um, where they are beat makers. I want them to be musicians. So I want them to experiment and reach for new genres. I want them to design sounds. As it relates to ear sketch, I want you to program your beat in a way that no one has ever thought about doing. And difference. So I have one kid who is really into pop, and he is loving pop music. Not necessarily artists. He think they look a little soft, but I understand. But he is loving making it, and he has several internships that he's doing right now with a couple of different artists around the city and studios. Let me see. Been able to work with Sonic Pi. I have not been able to work with Sonic Pi. That keeps popping up in some of my chats as I reach out to different people who use AirSketch, but I haven't had the opportunity to jump into it. Okay. Unfortunately, Ryan, you have to buy the license. But the Educator license is a third of the price. So I already owned it. I bought the suite back in version 8, and I've just been upgrading every time they upgrade about 15 years ago. So I think it's on 10.2 or something like that now. But the educator's license is half the price. So what I have at school in the music tech classroom, as long as I can maintain it, I have the suite for my main station, and then I have the light version on the computers that the kids use. So I only have 4 laptops, but I have about 30 different instruments or synthesizers or MIDI pads. And so what the kids do is they'll create their basic concept on the laptops, and then they'll bring it to the main workstation to further it or expand it. No, the educator's license is completely the same as the regular license. You have to show your ID and fill out some paperwork to get the educational license. But it takes a couple of days and they'll send it. And they can do full education license for your class. So if you decided to have 20 laptops, they can price it out for you, give you the educational pricing for 20 individual licenses. Um, I would say buy one and put it on 2 computers, so buy 10 licenses and put it on uh, 20 computers, but you run into update issues. Um, so the one license that you bought would be the one that updates, and then the other one you have to go in and update. Yeah, appreciate that, Marcus, loading that in there. It is the most fun that you can have using Ableton. The structure is just like what you would do in um, computer science layouts. And again, it's not limited to beat making. I can literally go in and analyze. I can literally go in and analyze waveforms down to the amplitude and determine how much of something I want. So it's very very detailed. And if you were looking at using it, I would recommend that over any of the other programs. Yeah. Send me an email. Okay. All right. I think we need to go to our other meeting, but yeah, Ryan, I got you, man. Just if you, I'm gonna give you my personal email. Either one of those will work. All right. Any other questions, ideas, concepts before I switch over? Don't want to leave anybody here. All right. See y'all in the next room. I think I already did that. Bum, 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 bum. Stop. bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I wanted to finish working on that.